Hello, everyone. This is Jeff Whitmire. And joining me is Kate Naylor. We are in the process of looking at starting up a podcast.
Okay,
We are
so
a huge
I
horror
set
fan.
this up. So
You set this up, yes. But I was going to say, we really want to get this podcast thing going because we met over horror in 2020 and became good friends. And one of the movies that we really latched onto that we absolutely adored was on Netflix, and it was a little film called 1BR. And we've been huge fans ever since, and chatting with the cast and crew over Twitter. And so Kate came up with this idea to let's start this off by doing an interview with the cast and crew and everyone that we're huge fans of here. So today, graciously, we're joined by actors Naomi Grossman and Clayton Hoff, and composer of the film Ronen Landa, and producer Alok Mishra. And thank you so much, everyone, for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, yeah.
I should say, Jeff and Kate are some of our biggest supporters on social media. Jeff, I don't know if you've heard his song, is amazing. He did a parody song about 1BR to the tune of Bare Naked Ladies'
Old apartment,
Old Apartment, which is actually fantastic. And he's been doing lots of different parody songs, like one for the host and whatever else. But I'll tell you the truth, I think ours is better.
I do too. I will say.
How do we see that?
Yeah,
Where is it?
We're gonna put a thing in the.
It's
link
on Jeff's YouTube.
I was also gonna say Kate is an amazing photographer, and the person that you may have in common, Naomi, is a little singer who sang at our inauguration, Lady Gaga. She's taking pictures of her and worked with her, and I know that American Horror Story, Lady Gaga, and Your Respect. So
Indeed.
That's an interesting sort of synergy. But Kate's one of our biggest supporters on Twitter, and when she asked, and I mean, gosh damn it, she even bought Ronen Landa's amazing album. By the way,
I haven't listened to it yet. I need to listen to it.
I shipped all the way to Australia, so I think that's a nice thing. It's a nice gesture, I gotta say. And Ronen gave a nice deal. She's one of our biggest fans, and I thought when she asked, I was like, we have to do it because I would love to be there because they're so horror centric, these two, and I would love to be on their first inaugural podcast episode.
Made it across Australia before it made it like across America in some cases.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
service. There you go.
I've just moved from the city, so I'm originally from Melbourne, but I've just moved to this little horror town. So literally where I'm living, they need to make a horror movie here. So it's called Billawheeler. There's a power station. When it rains, there's like a dome. It's so weird. I want to write a short horror and film it because I have been starting to get into the filming side of stuff, and because just being involved in the horror community recently and meeting Jeff and talking to everybody here and just admiring everybody's work and bouncing off everybody, there's so many different ideas that I want to do. I just don't have the time because I just started a new day job cleaning motels after 8 years
kill time
at Red Rooster. Yeah. But yeah, no.
Just to let everyone know, during the course of this interview, there may be some swearing, and there's a good chance you're going to hear some spoilers. Just to give you a heads up. So
just got a few questions organized. I haven't had time to prepare because I'm literally 2 weeks into a new town. So Jeff, do you want to take it away?
I'll go ahead and sure. I'll get it started. Now I do want to start with the obvious one. The obvious question, and this is to everyone, and everyone can jump in, and I know you've probably answered this so many times, and hopefully we will get some more variety into the questions, some things you haven't asked before, but can you briefly summarize how the movie came to be, how it was conceptualized, and then how Naomi and Ronen and Clayton all became involved with the film?
Well, David Marmer, our writer-director / genius, he was repped by Allard Cantor and Jared Murray, who were his managers, and they are also producers on this film. And it just so happened that Allard Cantor went to high school with my wife. So we organized one of those douchebag LA lunches that you talk about yourselves and all the good stuff. And we met, and he asked me what we were working on. And I told him, I was looking for, a sort of thinking man's horror movies. He sent me 2 scripts. I didn't read them for 6 months, but when I finally did, I was really wowed by David Marmer's script. So we met. We had the same sensibilities, and he was a first-time feature writer-director. My partner Shane Vorster and I were first-time producers. I mean, really, what could go wrong? Is the question.
Everything.
Naomi,
Yeah.
Ooh, do spill the beans. What went wrong?
I mean, so much. But
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get to it. But that's how I became involved with it. Ronen was also friends with Allard, and he got introduced to David, and Ronen, you can tell us that story, I guess.
Yeah, that was exactly that. Allard, I guess like Allard, mines these depths of kind of like his history. He went to summer camp with my sister-in-law, so that's how he.
Oh my
I've
god.
never heard that.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. That's how I met Allard.
LA's meant to be so tiny from what I've heard, because I've been doing music photography since I was like 18. I just turned 26, so I'm like the baby right now. I'm used to being the baby, I assume. But when I first started, I started working with people from overseas because I did this Tamworth Country Music Festival, so it's one of the biggest in the Southern Hemisphere in Australia, and everybody from overseas comes over, and a couple of people based in Nashville, and you always hear LA's so tiny and Nashville's so tiny. Like the music industry is just so small in general, so it's kind of like the same in the film industry, I'm finding.
There are a lot of people, but you do meet people, and I feel like everybody gets their own circle, and like you end up working with people a bunch, and that's cool too. But it worked out. Allard introduced, got a lot of people together in this film, and that's cool. I got to meet Dave. He sent me the script, and we met and totally hit it off, and it was great. It was an awesome project.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say a city of 6 million is so small, but I came to it through Alok. We had a mutual friend. Alok is more or less from LA, and so when I moved here, I was like basically Sarah, but without a cat. And moved here with nothing but my friend Lila, who was also from LA, who Alok went to high school with. So basically, his high school friends became my college friends, became my friends. That doesn't make sense. Anyway, I just woke up from a nap.
No, it does. It does.
It does. Okay, good. So anyway, I've known Alok for like, I don't know, maybe over 20 years now, as long as I've lived in LA. And, he was always, my late night Trivial Pursuit buddy, which, little did I know I'd been, I was basically like networking in Hollywood this whole time. So then when he, came to me with this script, I mean, at that point I had sort of made my way in horror. And so this was sort of an obvious fit, I mean, he showed me the script mostly just like as a friend, like, what do you think? Is this worthy of my, time and energy? And of course I said yes, because it is, but also because, I wanted to be in it. Little did I know he was actually going to make me audition. Not only audition, but he was my reader, and he pulled the same shit that he did in Trivial Pursuit. He would like read all jacked up, like no one can understand him when he reads. I swear. So it's a wonder that I even got the part. I was like, what are you doing? Are you trying to like screw me up? Are you trying to sabotage this? Because you're doing a great job. Like, this is not late night Trivial Pursuit. But anyway, I got it. Anyway.
I'll also say that as an independent producer, you wear many hats. Clearly, I need a hat right now. But
Yes.
I'll also say that,
Both.
I'm not a fucking actor. Like, they were just like, hey, Mishra, read with her. Read with her. And I'm like, all right. Like, So, I mean, to be honest, it was a formality. She had the role. It was just to see, I think we were actually having her read for 2 roles, just to see which one it was, if I recall correctly. But anyway, long and short of it, it's all a happy ending in that regard. She got the part. She did amazing in it. And anyway.
I can't believe you made your friend audition. That's like such a friend dickhead thing to do.
He's a professional.
Wasn't really the hold on here. It wasn't. It was an audition in so much as I think she was reading for something else that wasn't the role we really wanted, and I think she read for that, and then she read for that.
Was it Sarah?
No, I mean I don't know. I forget what it was, but the point of it is that she did it, and then it was pretty much.
Were you gonna be Brian?
No, she got the role no matter what is the point, and it was really just to see that David thought she was good, comfortable. He could direct her, and like it was just a feel. It was just almost like having a meeting. Like a lot of times in LA, you'll meet like an actor for drinks or something, and just talk to them, and talk to them about what movies they like and stuff like that. So we couldn't do that because we didn't have a lot of time, frankly. And so we were just bringing people in, and it was a formality. She had the role. Anyways, I just want to put that on record. Yeah, but yeah.
I didn't know that.
Right.
I just know that I got a call from my agent saying like, it was like a very legit thing where I was like, oh, wow, he's not playing around. Like my own very good friend could have very easily just texted me like, hey, no, I got none of that. I got a very an appointment with a.
Well, I was told from one of the other producers that I needed.
I would be pissed too.
Well, no.
If it's your mate.
No. But I was told from one of the producers that we needed to do it this way. Like friendship aside, you gotta respect their agents, right? You gotta respect their managers, so you need to go through them so they don't feel like they're being sidestepped. So that's what it was. I mean, Anyway, Clayton.
Oh, hey. I literally had just gotten married, and Alok saw a picture of me on Facebook, and as Alok says, I'm allegedly never on Facebook, which I wasn't. But he saw this picture, and he thought of me for the part of Lester, so I ended up shooting a self-tape, I think the next day at probably 3 a.m. with my new wife, and sent it over, and a couple days later, they called me up and said I had the part. So, and I know Alok from, we used to drink at a mutual bar. We have a mutual friend named Nigel. And so that is how we are acquainted. Yes. And I was acquainted with the film.
And I
I
also
feel like all of these stories have alcohol involved at some point. Like whether it's like late night drunken Trivial Pursuit or like drinking buddy at a bar. Oh, here's a look with this beer, of course. It's 4 o'clock.
It's 10 a.m. It's 10 a.m. my time.
Speaking of memes, you've seen that Kermit the Frog one with the tea. This is the one with me and the beer.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
Can you understand my accent? Because I'm like the odd one out. Yeah. I'm the odd one out.
Yeah, we can understand.
I'm the Aussie with Yanks, so I'm just like.
Yeah,
am I coming through clearly?
We understand you and your amazing accent.
Yes, you're all good. You're good.
At first I thought you were a little special, but now I got it. You're from Australia.
You know who has the great Giles Maddie, who plays Brian, has a full-on English accent, right? And he has such a great American accent. It's amazing. He just turns it on and turns it off.
Yes, he does. He's really good. Yeah,
he's great.
Nothing like Giles the cat, though.
I mean, Giles the cat is amazing. He's an amazing.
Giles the cat has a great accent.
Well,
Giles,
hold on.
He was amazing.
I'm gonna say this. Giles the cat is a fucking amazing actor. We called that cat One Take Giles. And in fact, what we would do is we would call Giles Maddie, the Brian character, out to set when that fucking cat was doing its acting. And we'd be like, hey, look at that fucking cat. That's One Take fucking Giles. What the fuck happened to you? And that's a joke. That's a joke we always tell. But Giles Maddie's an amazing actor. Giles Maddie is also like Nicole Blyden Bloom. That guy can cry 8 different ways. He's fucking amazing. We were very lucky to have, not only him, but also both of them, obviously. All the actors in this movie, we were so fucking lucky.
Well, yeah, the cast is great. Susan Davis. It was just Really, really amazing cast. I was gonna say too, Giles the cat also pulled off a really good fire stunt as well. But
I'm so worried about bringing my dog in.
there was a delay. There was a delay there. But
Yeah, no, hold on. Well, I'll say this: just bring your dog in. But I was gonna say the main thing is with the cat thing.
I'll go get her. Hang on.
Yeah, get it. The main thing with the cat thing is that it's not a real cat. I just want to say that. Like, it's not a real cat. Like, the biggest pile of shit that we get from people is like, oh, you fucking killed a cat. I will not watch. I only watched 30 minutes of this movie. I won't watch it.
Have we done the spoiler alert?
I mean, listen, it's in the trailer, so I don't feel like we're spoiling it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So in that regard, but it's
I mean, when she opens up the oven in the trailer, you have to know what's going on right
Oh my
there.
god.
Hi.
In real life, we love animals.
We do.
This is Miley.
On film, we cook them.
Right. I don't know how you can watch a movie though and not realize it's a fake animal, but that's just me.
The funny thing is, it's not even a good prop. Like, we had to like cover it up with we had to pay all this money for digital smoke. I mean, I love our prop master. He was really great and everything else, but this was not his strongest work. I will just tell you this. And so we had to put in we had to pay for a lot of additional fake smoke to come in, and it was actually an interesting thing because we did a lot of my background is that I tested movies, and my producing partner Shane Borster, we both tested movies for like 18 years, and we did test screenings of the movie to sort of figure out we did test screenings of the movie to try to figure out like how it was working or not. And what people told us is that like I wanted to see a lot more of the cat. Like, I wanted to see the cat like pop out of the oven and its eye explode and it run all over the apartment maybe and set everything on fire. I'm just joking about that, obviously, but I wanted to see more of the cat. And what we found was that 75% of the audience didn't want to see more of the cat. Only 25% of the audience did, but that 25% were hardcore horror fans. And what we discovered is that we didn't really have a hardcore horror movie. So we decided, I lost that argument, and I was like fine to lose it because David Marmer, our writer director, really like didn't want to. He was like, I was willing to fight you for that, and I was like, I don't want to fight you, David. The audience has spoken, so it worked out. But that is still one of the things that people really give us the most shit about, and we have to say again and again, it's not a real cat. And Giles,
it's a movie.
Giles Maddie is just as good an actor as Giles the cat. I just want to say that,
right. Well, and I do like you said, I would have been upset too if it would have been a little more graphic on the cat. I do like the pacing of the movie where it does have that slow burn right up to the end, and then all hell breaks loose. I mean, the shit hits the fan at the end. I do like that balance where it just goes crazy. But my next question was going to be directed to Clayton and Naomi. And just about the character development of the story. One of the things I really love about 1BR is you both have absolutely brilliant character arcs. Lester, of course, goes from the, if I dare say, creepy, suspicious stranger for most of the movie, and then, spoiler, becomes the lovable ally at the end. And then, Janice is the warm, welcoming, person that greets her at the door, and then at the end you have the amazing, emotional reaction to what's going on. As someone that, this is, I guess, a theater question, but as someone who's not as familiar with acting, is that difficult to pull that off, like that kind of an arc and everything?
Clayton, go ahead.
Okay. I think that you just kind of look for the spine of a character, and it's usually when you have a good script, which we did, it's in there. And the scene with Susan Davis and Nicole Bryan Bloom, where she's like, "Oh, did that creepy guy give you this book?" And she says, "No, that's Lester. Yeah. He's just really sad." And for me, that was just something that, that I worked on. I try to just maintain this character who is the sad guy grieving the loss of his wife, and who himself has been in the same exact situation as our lead character. And you just had to walk that fine line of good guy, bad guy, good guy, bad guy, to try to keep people guessing. But it was fun to do, as weird as that may sound.
I appreciate what you said about Janice's arc, although I can't say I totally agree. I like to mess with Alok and tell him that he squandered me But alas, I think maybe hoping that, for the next one, for the sequel, they won't squander me and I will get that arc. But I don't know. I just know that we shot this over 2 different shoots. We started in around the holidays in December of 2017, and then had to come back for reshoots. Had trouble getting the band back together, but finally did it in September of the next year. Just happened to be the weekend of the Emmys, for which I was nominated. Which I had plenty of places to be that weekend. Gifting suites, parties, award shows. But Alok is like, but we squandered you. We need you back. We need more Janice, which I fell for. I agree. Everything's better with a little more of me. But anyway, I don't know. In any case, I can't say that they necessarily got me in quite as much as I would have liked. But I appreciate what you're saying. So thank you.
No problem.
I mean, we did. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna give Naomi Grossman props here. Actually, I'll say this. Like she usually works for all of the actors usually work for a lot more money in comparison. But she did this movie for us because we're friends and wanted to work together. And she also knew, and she said this before in the past, that we had a good script. Like we had a good blueprint, right? Her dad's like an architect, right? So she knew that we had that, right? And so when we did the first set of shooting, which was 15 days, we knew we had to do reshoots because we just didn't have enough time, and getting the band back together was difficult, and we just so happened. And I also did tell her, we squandered you. We need more of you to get her back. Again, as a producer, you got to do what you got. You got to do things. You got to do dirty things sometimes. And that being said, though, it wasn't a dirty thing because I think that Naomi even realized that there was something special about this movie. And despite the fact that she could be at gifting suites and getting trips to Barbados or wherever, she still came back and did the movie. I did some sweet talking, but she realized in her own brain that this was something that was special. So she was such a good friend to come back when she should have been going to said gifting suites and whatever else. And it was amazing. And the thing is, that her coming back actually did help the film quite a lot. Like when the whole ending sequence where, there's the showdown in the courtyard and this and that, we shot that, we used the shooting from that day compared to when we first shot it. Like she got to work herself up even more. There was it really, I think, worked out. It was so good that we got those extra, moments. Cinema is about moments, right? So when you see a crazy Janice come around the corner with a knife and she is a mess, right? It makes a difference compared to how the audience is going to respond to it. So again, we had to say thank you to Naomi Grossman as far as her coming back. I just want to put that out there.
It's also really interesting. As somebody who spent a lot of time just watching this movie, because when you're writing music for a movie, you watch it a lot. Janice is a really interesting character. Sarah and with Naomi together. I'm sorry, I'm mixing up character names and actors. Nicole and Naomi together. They're on screen a lot together, and a lot of times the focus is on Nicole and Sarah. But Janice is actually a really important presence, and sometimes without lines. Naomi, you did a lot in that movie, even without lines, and you accomplished a lot, and it ends up being kind of like a godmother of the community in a way. And not, Edie too in a different way, but as somebody who's actually kind of pulling strings behind the scenes, you're
the queen bee.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh,
I like that. I
just thought of one. I'm so unprepared. I'm so sorry, guys. I've just been moving for 2 weeks straight. But how did you come up with the cult idea, with the community? Whose idea was that in the script?
And is there any basis in reality? I was going to ask too. Is there any inspiration without saying too much?
I could say this, but does Naomi or Clayton want to do this? Do you guys know the? I think Naomi knows the answer, but Clayton, do you remember the answer?
Yeah, so David Marmer had moved back here years ago, and the story is, kind of a reflection of how he felt when he moved to LA. He moved into this stucco apartment that looks like every single apartment in Los Angeles, and he had a cat, and anyway, the whole stuff with
an illegal cat, actually.
An illegal cat that he wasn't supposed to have in the community, so to speak. And just LA is a place where you have a lot of lonely people, and he was really fascinated and drawn to LA in terms of just how many people come here looking for answers. And he got fascinated with things such as like Synanon, and that kind of how it kind of morphed its way in. It's really not a direct model of any sort of cult, so to say, but it definitely has.
What was that?
But yeah, I know. I was like, that person's getting the hell away from that question right there.
Is that a hot felon?
It probably was.
Oh shit! We gotta tell that story pretty soon.
Because I'm really interested in like who you picked apart most when you were coming up with the score too. And I know Jeff is probably interested in the music type of things, because I feel like the music producers never get as much recognition as they should in films, because they
need a lot more recognition. That's definitely a very good place for all interviews to start.
Yes.
Let's recognize me.
Yes. Agreed.
So look, I think the answer to that question is that all scores, for me, when I'm scoring a film, it starts from what's in front of me. It's a question of what is this movie and how are we going to tell this story in the most effective way possible. And so we spent a lot of time listening to music, listening to music that I'd done, but also a lot of other composers, and finding a few ideas that kind of became our kind of our well that we would draw from, and that had to do with I would say there were a couple things. There was some kind of like musical elements that are peppered throughout the score that were kind of our thematic ideas for sure. There's like a knocking sound. That's a big one that, I wanted to kind of bring in this idea of, people at your door. But there's, really it was about finding the emotional center. And I didn't think people would be invested in Sarah's story if they didn't care about her. And so often sometimes in genre films, the score is really superficial. And I really felt that we needed, a really dramatic, emotional theme for Sarah so that people could care about her. So that when the scary stuff hits and when we do all that experimental music that is always a part of a genre film like this, that the audience is really invested and they're really going to care, and that's going to scare the hell out of them. And I think it did.
Sorry, somebody's like speeding past my house because everybody has four-wheel drives here because we're in the middle of nowhere and there's nothing to do. So people just go to the pub, get drunk,
At 10
go to the gym,
at 10
repeat.
o'clock, at 10 o'clock in the morning.
It's Australia, honestly.
What am I talking about? These people.
I honestly think I'm still hungover from last night. I was challenging random guys to pool, and I kept losing.
Hungover is just another word for Australian in Australia, right?
It might as well be, honestly.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, man.
I wanted to tag off the Ronen question a little bit because since I've been a kid, my two favorite obsessions have been music and horror movies. So artists who write music for horror movies are basically heroes for me, like Carpenter and Trevor Jones and John Murphy. So I did want to ask you, since you're here, like what got you started in the whole thing as far as, scoring movies, and, who are some of your inspirations?
For me, it was I fell in backwards. So, a lot of my peers in the business are people who grew up idolizing John Williams and I was always aware of movie music, but I wanted, I just wanted to play in rock bands, and I did. But in college, I got more interested in. I was in New York, and I got really interested in experimental music and in classical music, and kind of just my mind started expanding, and I didn't really know where to go. But I was really into a composer named John Zorn, who's a fantastic composer, and he's based in New York. And he had done an album that was a tribute to Ennio Morricone's music called The Big Gun Down, which is a fabulous, fabulous cover album. And I was listening to that on repeat for a couple months in college. And at some point I said to myself, I should probably figure out who this Ennio Morricone guy is, if he inspired John Zorn. And that's really how I kind of got introduced to Ennio Morricone's music and fell in love with that, and said, this career makes a lot of sense because I can go and I can get to do rock and roll, but I can also do all this crazy other stuff that I like to do. And I wasn't really, I didn't grow up, and I have so much love and respect for horror fans, but I'm scared to death of horror films. I cannot watch horror films at all. I can't, unless they are hiring me to score them. Because then I get eased in. I get to read the script, and they talk to me about it, and I calm myself down a little bit before I watch it. I can't watch these things. They terrify me. So I get really invested. But when I got to Los Angeles, there was I had a meeting with a director named Nicholas McCarthy, who had listened to some of not really my other film music. I'd been scoring dramas and documentaries, and I do all that kind of stuff too. And he wasn't even taken with any of that. He was really taken with like my concert music, my more experimental stuff. And he said, I think you can marry these two things and score horror films. And he brought me in to score a short film called The Pact, which became a feature film called The Pact. And that kind of started my road in scoring horror films. And I really try to watch them. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's hard, but I have a lot of respect for everyone. And so, my influences are just, they're all over the place. I don't know. They're everywhere.
Fair enough.
because Alok is my biggest influence, I'll be honest. So.
Very good one.
Kate,
Alok's
you
my
had the
internet.
question then. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so does anybody have any like weird talents that are out there that you never said during an interview? Like, I just want the like random shit that
Any
like
weird
you've never been asked.
Uh-oh.
My piano teacher, she hated us and we hated her. My mom put like the worst like scheduling. Like she'd put us on Friday after school. That was when we had our piano lessons. Like, you're free for the weekend, and then no, you got to go to this woman who, she's dead now. So I don't feel bad to say it, but she had the worst breath I think I've ever smelled in my life. And she'd be sitting there like, she never got my name right. I took piano lessons for 3 fucking years. And she's like, Alok, you gotta do this. And, yeah. One time when we were going to India, back in the day, they'd give you vaccinations to go to India because like you had like yellow fever and all this shit, right? So they were giving you serious drugs. And this is like being in like 2nd grade or whatever. And we had vaccinations before we then got to piano lessons, and we were so fucked up on drugs. It was a thing where we were like, I was like putting my head down on like the keyboard like this, and like my brother was like throwing up in the bathroom, and this piano teacher was just beside herself. Like my mother would have dropped us off like and just expected her to take care of us when we're in such a horrible state. And anyway, it became a thing where we would. My brother actually continued piano, but not with his piano teacher. But it became a thing where she basically told us she had had enough of us because we wouldn't practice. We wouldn't practice, and she's just like, I would love to take your money, but your kids are fucking assholes. So she quit on us, and that was it.
You scared off the piano teacher.
Yeah. So in answer to your question, no, I don't. I can sing, but I don't have any musical talent because my piano teacher hated us. Like, yes, that's it.
Alok, this hurts my heart so much. First of all, my mom listens to everything we do. and she hates it when you curse because she thinks you're better than that. But now she's gonna listen to this. No, you know my mom was the piano teacher. She's a pianist. Like that is yes, and that is why she is in love with Ronen and cannot stand you.
She's a much better pianist than I am. She's a much better pianist.
Well, you know that actually makes sense because she has said like she has just been like, oh, that Ronen. He's a magic. You know?
She loves him, and it's not that she can't.
Lose all respect.
But it's not that she can't stand you, but this is not helping your case. Like I'm always like, I know, Mom. I told him, like, you know.
Again,
I'm gonna degrade my case for your mom.
Oh no! Don't do it. Oh. I'm just not gonna share this one. I can't.
This is a special musical talent I have just for Kate. I don't know if she can recognize this thing, but.
Holy shit!
This is actually a didgeridoo. It's a curved didgeridoo.
It looks like a dildo, to be honest.
It looks like a dildo.
It looks
a painful one, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys have going on in that small town in Australia. That's the way it's supposed to. You know.
This is legit from Australia. My parents got me this from Australia, and it's like a weird curved tenor didgeridoo. So that's my unique special talent.
Well, I mean, at least it's very portable compared to the other didgeridoos.
Yeah, the big long one.
I mean, it's like
we wanted to get you a didgeridoo, but they were too big, so we found this one that was weird, and you can have that one.
And audience, try not now to think about dildos as he continues this conversation.
I'm just gonna go. I can't be over in the back if anybody wants to look at it again.
I can't stop thinking. Naomi's mom hating me.
I know. She doesn't hate anyone. I like to call her the Dolly Mama. She's nothing but love. But you just give her reason upon reason upon reason to dislike you, Alok.
I keep on telling you, Naomi. Can you tell the fish not to swim? Can you tell the bird not to fly? How can I not curse?
It's just mango.
It's just what it is.
It's kind of funny that you bring that up though, because I hardly ever curse in real life. 5 kids. I work in social welfare, so I hardly ever curse. But if you've listened to my YouTube channel, it happens all the time. My mom actually won't play the 1BR song for her friends and family because I say it's still my fucking life at the end. And my defense is it's the screenwriter's fault.
Yes.
Don't blame me. I'm just quoting a line. It's my fucking life.
Well, I mean, that we also have
44 years old, and I'm not allowed to swear in my music.
we also have Vag Up, which is a very popular.
Yeah, I put that. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Very popular.
It's not a bad word.
Not a bad word.
No.
Vag.
I'm Australian. We just swear. Swearing is like we say cunt and worse stuff. So like. I feel sorry for your mom. I'm sorry to your mom in advance.
She won't. She's not going to listen to this interview. It's
She's not listening. I'm not.
No, she won't.
No
she can't. She couldn't do the song. She's not.
To answer your question, though, I took piano lessons as well. I was a great student. I took for about 7 years, although I did not take from my mom because that's really hard. If you've ever tried to learn a skill from your own parent, it's impossible. I also happen to be in the marching band.
Me too.
Oh, really?
Me too.
Tuba player. Yeah.
I didn't know this. This is awesome.
I played in marching band. I played the mellophone, which is in the actual band or orchestra would be the French horn. I just thought it's like the prettiest. So
I played the trumpet for 9 years, and I played until I became the drum major of the marching band. I was the leader of the band.
Wow.
That's right.
You guys, we should start a band.
Oh man, I remember
like a little
up
brass band.
Yeah.
Right?
I'll play
guitar.
I'll play the cowbell. Cowbell.
I've got a fever.
I play guitar. I play guitar really badly.
Oh, look, you can just shout expletives in the rest.
Right. You'll be the little John of the group. I thought of a horrible joke, and I'm not going to say it.
I can tell you this already. This has been
Will Ferrell. We Will you dance like Will Ferrell when you play?
I've lost a lot of weight, so I don't have the belly as much, but I will definitely shake it like him for sure. I will also say this. This is an interesting interview because we always do a bunch of interviews, right? And when we learn something new, it's very interesting. And this is the first time I have ever heard these musical talents, by the way, in my life.
Yes.
This is a very interesting interview in that regard.
We did a thing.
You had done a thing, actually. Never knew this stuff.
No, I play guitar really badly, but all my friends, they won arias, which is kind of like Grammys in Australia. So all my friends are really talented. So I just stay behind the scenes because they always are up for awards. And I'm just like, I'm going to do all the things and then just stay back here and then cheer you on.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Like this kind of stuff, yeah?
Right.
Yeah. So how the Lady Gaga stuff came to be, I sneaked a camera in. This was like a year into doing professional photography. Then I'd just done a tour all that week and I was working like 4 or 5 days at my day job on top of doing 4 or 5 days on tour because I'm insane and I was like 18 and I could do that then. And then I sneaked a camera in, stayed up until like 4 a.m. photo sorting, did all the PR, and then she used 2 of my photos and they got like 6,000 likes across both photos on my social media. And I was like, what? Because Lady Gaga is like, she saved my life when I was a teenager and I adore her. And I would sell my cell just to like be in her photography pit, like at this point, because she's like, she's amazing in general, and then you add her like background and how her acting and like her season of American Horror Story.
Well,
Sorry, now I'm just going.
My favorite 2 seasons of American Horror Story are Asylum and Freak Show. So draw whatever conclusions you want to that.
Very good choices.
Yeah. Actually, that is true.
What would be the common denominator, I wonder?
I wonder. Actually, that's a good like slide into American Horror Story questions. How did you get cast into American Horror Story? Like, tell us your backstory. Like, just rant, like, do whatever.
I had an audition, just like, you know, any other. My agent at the time called. He was kind of a shyster, I'm not gonna lie. He was kind of a total nobody out of like Thousand Oaks, which you're in Australia, so probably doesn't mean anything to you, but it's kind of out actually near where like Alok lives, like middle of nowhere valley.
It's like the super rich valley, like the Kardashians and everybody live in Calabasas, which is
okay.
Thousand
What I'm
Oaks
trying
adjacent.
to say is it was not exactly the epicenter of Hollywood. Like this is like agencies like CAA and like ICM and like Gersh and, you know, WME are not in Thousand Oaks, okay? So, but this guy was. He called me with this audition. The audition itself was basically, I had to do a monologue of Jessica Lange's from season 1. And then they also had me do like a little improv. They gave me a ball and tried to get me to like play with them, try to get them to play with me. So I remember like reading, you know, working on it, and I'd never seen the show. So I called a friend who like watches a lot of TV, and he kind of filled me in. Of course, that didn't really help me because every season is totally self-contained.
Right, yeah.
So it didn't really matter. But anyway, I remember getting the audition, and I was basically, the waiting room was like a room full of little people. And I remember thinking like, what is going on? Like, am I like lost, or like, does my agent need like a briefing? Like, I am petite, but like I am proportionate. Like, it's not, you know, anyway. I remember going in and making a joke about being a giant, and then nailing it, like completely killing that audition. And then like driving home, in the whole way, like actors are notorious for like beating yourself up afterwards, and, you know, thinking, well, of all the auditions, like this is the one I kill, the one I can't possibly get, because they're gonna obviously hire like, you know, a little person. Why would you hire me when you have this like room full of, you know, much more interesting people? Anyway, apparently not. They cast me anyway. But the actual the callback was also kind of interesting. It was just a meeting with makeup. They actually had me as well as other actresses who they knew could handle the, demands of the role, come in, and they took a bunch of photos of our profiles, which they then manipulated to see what we'd look like with the makeup. And that's how they ultimately decided it. Like, there's a makeup artist to whom I owe it all. His name is Mikey Hill, and he apparently literally sat there and like looked at these images and was like, that one looks the best. So I always like to think of that because, again, Clayton can probably relate. Like, we're horrible to ourselves. We're like, I suck, I this, I that. Well, who knows? Like, maybe it came down to literally the shape of my nose. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a particularly remarkable nose at all. And in fact, a lot of actresses are out there fixing their nose. And like, thank God I never did. You know what I mean? Like, it may have like just given me a career. So.
Naomi, I talked to Alok, and the nose thing, I think, is why he made you audition.
Ah, yes.
I think that was.
Why you gotta be mean like that, Ronen? Why do you gotta throw me under the bus like that, man? Like,
Also, did you guys see the graphic our friend Neil did? So like for the interview, so he did it. It's so amazing. Speaking of like good artists, like he's everywhere in the horror community right now. Like Neil Fraser, he's based in London. I think he's met you at a Comic-Con, Naomi.
He met Naomi, yeah.
I've met everyone at a Comic-Con.
No.
He spent last year doing like some really crazy, amazing graphic posters for Host and 1BR and Mortuary Collection and all these things. But yeah, he did the cover that we're going to put on front of this. But yeah, it looks really cool.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
I need to get it
There's so many
printed.
creative people in the horror community, and so many creative fans and people doing I think it's the coolest thing.
Yeah, it's a really solid community. It really brings people together.
When I score documentaries, that doesn't happen. They'll just throw that out. It's pretty much horror.
I would totally I'd fanboy the documentary people though, because I'm a sucker for a good documentary. But
I'm the same.
It's true. My friends in documentaries and drama and comedy, for that matter, do not have rooms like this.
Yeah.
It's like wall to wall.
Holy shit!
So cool.
Character. Yeah. So
I'm so jealous. I'm
Also-
so jealous. That is so cool. I can't even draw for shit. I just take photos. That's all I'm good at. I just go with my skill.
We have an amazing eye. That's a talent in its own right. So
right.
It's like, it's like, I don't know how.
Look, you have no idea how many times I tell her this.
I don't know how the f-stop works. I don't know fucking bullshit. Like, I'm like, iPhone. Oh, we have such good cameras on this. I can do anything I want to in post. It's like
Because of lockdown, I haven't done anything since February last year, but I still have music videos coming out. So I've done like extra work and stuff like that. So I wanted to be an actor and be at the front originally, or be a singer, but I can't do that type of shit. So I've just stuck to behind, and then I've upskilled everything into film and TV. And in lockdown, that's how I met Jeff. Yeah,
through
I'm
Host
just
and 1BR
everywhere
is
at the
pretty
moment.
much 1BR brought people together. A lot of people.
Yeah, because 1BR is my internet bag. I love that inside joke.
So I'm looking at the time, and I know we've got some time crunches here. So I guess I'll just ask the the question we all want to know, kind of lead off to everybody. But I know for me, my favorite scene of the movie is aside from the first the big conditioning scene, is the ending. Just that look down the street and everything, and it's just an amazing moment. And it kind of feels very open ended in all in just a closure way, but also a sequel thing. So I guess my question would be a two-parter. One is, can we expect a sequel? And two would be to everybody in the panel here. Are there any plans in the future for any projects that you're working on that you can talk about?
There better be a sequel. They squandered me.
Yes.
I mean.
And Janice survives the ending, so you absolutely.
Listen. I will tell you, yes, there's gonna be a sequel. 100%.
Can we be in it? Can we get like a cameo? Like, I just want to be the Australian that dies. I just really want to die in a horror movie as bad as it's.
Listen. I can just tell you this because there's a lot of people that ask that same question, and I understand that everyone wants to be a cult member and whatever it is, and I can say I can't tell you for sure that we can get everyone in, but I'll say maybe. How about that? And then
Oh,
Alok, I can't
Gotta
believe
know.
you're passing
know.
up free extras. I mean, people are. Once upon a time, you had to be your own extra, and now you're like, I don't
I've done
know.
that.
For those that don't know, Alok is in 1BR quite a few times.
Over
I
and
mean-
over and over. Oh my God.
Like I didn't. Like the truth of the matter is, I didn't want to be in the movie. I wanted a real producer sitting at Video Village and just watching the footage to make sure things aren't fucked up. But because we had a low budget movie, they'd be like, "Oh, the extras that your friends and family that you said were going to come today didn't come, so you need to get the fuck out of here, Mishra." And I'm like, you know. And the friends and family were like, well, you know, the 405 is a mess today. I can't possibly make it out to the valley. And I'd be like, fuck you. Now I got to be in this movie. And I was actually wearing this exact same shirt. It's like a funny shirt that has like someone like a kid sacrificing another kid. Right?
Oh yeah, I've seen those at Hot Topic actually.
So I had to turn this shirt inside out. They'd be like, "Why are you wearing shirts with logos on it?" And I'm like, "Because I don't feel like I should have to be in this fucking movie. I don't dress for this shit." Like, someone bring him a black T-shirt or turn your shirt inside out and go in there and be in the movie. So like, I'd have to do that all the time. So Naomi likes to joke, if you have a drinking game, going back to the drinking, and you drink every time you see me, you'll be drunk by the end of it. That's what she says.
Mhm.
But
oh my God.
It's
Like
true.
a weak Zima. I swear.
Yeah, drinks up. So yes, there's gonna be a sequel, 100%. Okay, will it be called 1BR: The Chronicles of Janice? Janice is still alive. It could be. I don't know. Did Clayton actually die? Did Lester?
I still hold out hope for Clayton, but
Did Lester
Sure.
actually
I
die?
hold out hope
Well, we
too.
see something that looks like he's killing himself, but do we know for sure is the
Right.
question. I'm going to say this. What we're working on next, we got a J.J. Abrams' shit out of that. I am working on a sci-fi horror movie with my producing partner and another team. We're gonna do another movie with David Marmer. Hopefully after that. That's not 1BR. That's his next movie. Hopefully we shoot this summer. Hopefully our dear Ronen Landa is involved with that, of course. You know, I know we've already been talking a little bit, and you've been talking to him. And then this time next year, we'll shoot a sequel for 1BR. And no, it's not called 2BR. And that's all I'll say about it, period, and done. Ronen.
I always have stuff going on, which is cool. I had a web series I wrote, like one track for this little web series, but it's so funny because it was ska, and I just when do you ever get to write ska? So
Right.
I got to write like a 15-second ska theme for this
So
web
cool.
series. You know, it was like, yeah, it's 1997 and we're all like, let's do
Like
it.
a 1992.
No, but I'm whatever it was. But a very, very funny little piece. And then no, I've been scoring. I was scoring a series for Quibi this year. I don't know if you heard about Quibi, but obviously that gig
It's gone.
that gig is done. And I've got a few little films that I'm working on presently that I'm excited about. A couple little things. So some cool stuff and David and a couple other writer directors that I know have been working on some amazing scripts. So hopefully all this stuff starts pushing forward. I'm really excited
awesome.
about it.
Yeah.
I've got all my eggs in one basket, and that is my next one-woman show, which actually Ronen also scored the well, not scored. What do you call yeah? There's some music underneath the pitch, actually the sizzle reel for not this particular show, but another one. Alok, what is happening?
Nothing. I'm walking to one.
You're just wandering around.
He's doing a found footage film.
I guess it's like in the Blair Witch Project all of a sudden. No, but basically, I have I've got a couple one-woman shows, and this new one I'm looking forward to, putting up in some way. Probably not in a live theater at this point, but I ideally I'll sell it to a Netflix or Amazon or something, and it'll be one of those 1-hour comedy specials. And in order to do so, I'm hoping that they'll be interested in my other shows, in which case, they'll be hearing your work, Ronen, and I'll be able to, give you a little something for your efforts. That's not a euphemism, by the way. I mean,
What
I will
about you,
Venmo
Clayton?
you.
What are you doing?
I don't know. I've already made a face.
I hope we're talking about money or food. Let's just two things I accept.
Yes. I'm just saying a token of my Thanks. Never
Other-
mind.
You're still digging yourself a hole, Naomi.
Otherwise, we're gonna have to review with certain other people. You know, who might be-
Yes. Your wife, my mother.
yes,
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think your mother called dibs. Anyway,
Right.
Clayton.
I shot a movie in December, little gig called To Leslie. Check it out in post-production. Hopefully it's coming out this year. I don't know.
He did a couple amazing shorts that were also at Fantasia.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did an awesome short called Progeny that showed at Fantasia and at Stitches, and had a couple of them that are going around right now called Witchin', and fun stuff I did up at the American Film Institute. It's going everywhere.
He got into the two biggest film festivals, genre film festivals in the world, which I think is impressive.
Wow,
It's
that's
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank
did
you,
Oh,
Alok.
It's the truth. You need to fucking represent. I mean, you need to hype that
Yeah,
shit
you
out of
need
it.
Hype the
to.
train. Hype the train.
You need to self-promote. As hard as it is, I suffer from it, but because I'm better at promoting everybody but my own shit. Because I'm just
that's true, actually.
I wasn't dragged into it, and I dragged Jeff into it because Jeff's the small
It's just going
head,
out, isn't it?
and Jeff is just now I'm just bragging about Jeff because Jeff doesn't brag about Jeff enough. So you have to be your own cheerleader.
Kate, you have as bad internet as I have.
Yeah.
I'm always the one they tease for having the worst internet, and I always tell them it's because I live in the fucking valley. That's the reason, actually. But I've actually discovered how to, I think, kind of get it right. I haven't slowed down at all this time, have I?
No, you haven't. No.
Usually I do, though. Usually I talk like I'm drunk and I'm doing that. Yeah. So anyway.
This is how you read for my audition. I thought that was that's just how you win Trivial Pursuit.
She's so good at improv. She gets it right away.
My internet's weirdly better in the middle of nowhere, and parcels come quicker. And I'm 7 hours from Brisbane, so I'm just in whoop whoop. So if somebody dies out here, I'm just
is it pronounced whoop or what is it?
Oh man, no. So I'm still getting used to the small town life. So that's why I started doing these interviews. And then Jeff just came on board.
One thing that I loved about the movie is I'm a sucker when movies take dark, disturbing scenes and set them to peppy, usually classic songs that you would not expect to be there. The two big examples in 1BR are Happy Heart during the conditioning and Angel of Morning during the branding. How did those decisions get made? Because I absolutely adore those.
Well, I mean, Angel of the Morning, actually, our editor came up with. We a version of the film showed up, and all of a sudden, Rich Fox had put it in there, and we were like, oh shit, okay, this is great. Let's see if we can get the rights of that song. And so that was the thing. Then the other, Happy Heart, we actually originally wanted the Carpenters' We've Only Just Begun. And we almost had the rights for it, actually. But apparently, Richard Carpenter, who's still alive or whatever, he's very precious about what he's perceiving his legacy to be. And that song actually has been used in Room 1408. It's the song that John Cusack keeps on waking up to on the clock radio after some horrible thing has happened on screen. All of a sudden he's awake to that song, right? And then even more so in a funny way, John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness, I want to say. Sam Neill from Jurassic Park and elder statesman, great actor.
Event Horizon.
Yeah, Event Horizon. He is being checked into a mental asylum at the beginning of the movie, right? And the song comes on as he's in a straitjacket. It starts coming on all over the entire asylum, and he's like, oh, not the Carpenters. He says this in the movie, right? He couldn't think of any worst example of them shitting on that kind of music in that movie, and there it is, right? And we're like, why would he reject our request? And it's now he's worried about the legacy of all of his music. He doesn't want to check it out for any more horror movies, and so we were sort of like, we were pissed about that. But I had actually looked at this Andy Williams Happy Heart song, which actually I had seen in Danny Boyle's film debut. It was Shallow Grave. It's also in that same movie. It's also Ewan McGregor making his debut, right? And so I was a huge fan of that, and our other producer, Shane Vorster, hadn't seen the movie. So while we're in production for 1BR, one of the nights when we come home and it's like, you know, it's only a 10-hour day instead of a 12-hour day, I put the movie on for him. And at the end of the movie, which is a great ending, like that song is kind of used, not at the very end, but it's used sort of as a device in the song in some way, like in the movie in some way. And so I love the song, and I was like, the next morning I went to David, and David is doing notes, and he's on the computer, and he's doing some stuff, and I'm like, hey, listen, I don't want to bother you, but I just want to put this in your head, this song. And he's just like, you know, I have like 100 fucking things to do. I don't need your fucking shit right now. I'm like, but he says it in the nicest way. He says it in the nicest way. Like, could you kind of politely fuck off, whatever? You know, he's a nice, polite person. And I was like, okay, I try to put it in your head. I try to put it in your head. I'll run. You know, yeah. So then after we don't get the song from the Carpenters, I came back. I'm like, remember when I was bothering you on set? And this is the song. And he's like, all right, I think it works. Can we get it? And I'm like, let's see. And so we did get it, actually. And so that's the story behind how we got it. But it's an interesting song from a testing perspective. Let me just tell you this. This is an education for some of your listeners. When you have a song that you can use in a horrible situation, a juxtaposition of like, okay, there's torture going on over here, but there's this kind of poppy song going on, right? So there's a thing, right? That's an interesting sort of like a difference, an opposite, let's say. Then at the very end, you end like with the song itself, right? So people, and you have a very tense ending. People, they see that ending, they're like, oh God, what the fuck did I just watch? And all of a sudden that poppy song comes in that kind of reminds you in a sense memory kind of way about the horrific things you've just seen, but yet it's just so poppy, you're tapping your foot. You will score the movie 5 points higher than you would ever score it if you were testing the movie. And the people will walk away talking about the movie to their friends and being in a very positive light about the movie because of all of this. And this is a trick of the trade, but this
kind
is
of a psychological thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I use to kind of figure out whatever else. Anyway, that's the story behind the song.
People have emailed me asking me if I wrote, which I didn't write the song, if I recorded the song, if I had nothing to do with that song. But so many people have actually reached out to me because that song had a huge impact.
When the movie's so scary and then they have like a peppy song, you don't know how to feel. So you're like, should I be scared or should I be happy?
You know what, though? Let's talk about Ronen stuff, though, right? Like, I mean, you look at music, right? If you look at low-budget films, typically it's some sort of synth soundtrack, right? And it's just like, you can immediately tell the quality of a film, I think, based off of just the composing of that music, right? Just in terms of like, oh, are we dealing with some sort of synth soundtrack? Are we dealing with like, when it's like fake violins and whatever else? And it was a thing where we approached Ronen. Ronen came to us and had all these great ideas. And he was like, listen, I want to use real instruments. And we only wanted to spend like this much on the movie. And we didn't have any more to spend. We spent a little bit more. And he just like, he made like, water into wine. Like he literally just took this. I went to go see him doing the recording sessions, and I was like, for 2 days, I was like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome and stuff. And like, I think there was emotional stuff going on in the studio because we were watching him doing what he was doing, and at one point he was just like crying because it's so beautiful, and I was like, I love Ronen for that. I mean, he got so passionate.
The piano, the version of the theme. So I'm really good friends with our pianist, Carolina Rojan, and she's just an unbelievable artist. And I do, like every score is kind of a marathon, and really, really long days, and you're working really hard. And this music does not kind of create itself. It's a lot of work to make it happen, and there's a lot of time spent writing it, and then a lot of time spent recording and getting ready for the recording sessions and producing it. And after the recording sessions, we ended with just doing a solo piano take of the main theme, and it was a really emotional moment.
I love that though. I mean, he's so passionate about it that he's brought to tears like by it, and that was like I was like I fucking want to work with Ronen all the time. Like,
I will say one thing. I mean, I love the whole score. And go to Ronen Landa at .bandcamp.com. You case if you can't get the vinyl, you can get the score, the whole soundtrack right there. That's how I have it on my phone.
You need the vinyl.
Well,
Vinyl
either way,
is so much better.
Either way, but one of the things that I noticed early in listening to the song that I absolutely thought was a brilliant touch is as Sarah's theme is playing, as the theme to the movie is playing, it's very bright, very melodic. The pianos and everything, it's got that major sound to it. As it's panning across the courtyard, it goes into that dissonance. So if you've gone into the movie not knowing, what the movie's about, it just gives you that sense of, oh, what is going to happen here? Because it seems to happen at a really unusual moment. I thought that was absolutely brilliant and just an amazing touch right there. All right. I did have one in general that I think we started on, but we didn't quite touch on. And it's a joke that I snuck at the end of the song when I did the 1BR one, where I kind of make a reference to basically, has Tom Cruise seen this movie? And so one of the vibes that I got through the whole movie, and I'm not sure if this is talkable, but how much of the movie was inspired by Scientology, if any? Like, was that
Naomi, do you want to answer this question? She lives right next to there, so I think she should answer the question.
Yeah, well, no, we always like to say very nice things about them because it's true. I drive or ride my bicycle, whatever mode of transportation du jour, right by the Scientology Center on my way to my cult, which is really like my yoga speakeasy daily. So, like I said, I'm always like very cautious in case any of them are here listening. No, actually, I think Scientology was not necessarily the inspiration. Although, what's Nexium?
Synanon.
What was I saying? I guess David Marmor. Well, when he moved to LA from the Bay Area, he had a similar experience to me and most all people when they moved to LA. Like living in one of those crummy kind of stucco looking spots in the valley, and the way he tells the story, it was just like he kind of it was kind of one of those things where he see people in the corridors and just wonder like what their story was. It almost had like a cult like feel. And that's when he kind of got to researching, and the Synanon was his particular cult of interest. But Southern California is a really right place for it because, let's face it, there's so many, artist types that are, kind of lost souls. We're kind of like looking for inspiration or some help, and so I think we tend to be especially vulnerable. I say we because we're pretty much all artists here, so anyway, sorry, Alok, go ahead.
No, I was going to say you the Seekers is the whole thing, and the whole thing with him was that he did a lot of research into cults. So like whether you find some sort of like similarities to like our friends at the Tom Cruise whatever we're talking about over there thing, not saying so much because Naomi could get snatched. We don't want her to be snatched.
Yeah, we don't want that to happen. Yeah,
don't want that. Or Synanon, which Clayton mentioned earlier. Synanon was a drug rehab situation. That the late 60s, the government was sending them people because back in the day, if you were a drug addict, they were kind of looked upon as a lost soul. And so what would happen was that they would send them people and they would help them. And then as the kind of that cult developed, it became more of a cult of personality. Some people died, and then they moved up to like Northern California to kind of get away from the stink that they had on them for a couple people dying like in the Southern California. They moved up north. And they shaved their heads to be all together. And it became a thing where they were like, well, you can never truly be, cured of, drug addiction. So you need to like be with us all the time. You need to live with us all the time. You need to shave your fucking head so everyone's equal kind of thing, right?
Right.
And so in shaving their heads, there was a little filmmaker named George Lucas who was doing his first
I'm not
film.
familiar.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
little filmmaker in Georgia is doing a film up in Northern California called THX 1138. That's all bald-headed people. If it's futuristic, it's all bald-headed people, and so they use like the majority of the bald-headed extras and everything are all Synanon members,
Oh,
right?
okay. All right.
So it's an interesting sort of
Yeah.
film industry related to this, related to like whatever.
The next thing didn't have anything to do with the film,
Yeah.
even though there are like there's the branding thing and there are some things that are similar with Nexium, but I think it was really just a coincidence because that thing broke in the news and 1BR was already in production. or the script was already written.
So we were well into production, and then we maybe just we were coming out or whatever. We were maybe in post production, but like it with nothing to do with our film. But like if you watch, there's 2 documentaries on the Nexium cult, and one of them is everyone stands in a circle, and they just go round robin and they slap each other, like. We didn't have that in we didn't put that in our film because of them. We put that in there beforehand, right? I mean, it had nothing to do with it. Anyway, it was an interesting similarity. Also, I mean, obviously the obvious thing is the branding.
Right.
I mean, the branding on the privates or near the privates or whatever, which is just disturbing.
And what they branded was also like it was like a logo, but their logo was like the initials of their cult leader. Oh, okay.
Yeah. When I heard there was similarities too with the kind of the conditioning at the beginning, like the making people lose sleep at night, taking away the meds and everything. I think apparently that was something that they were talking about too.
Well, that's also just government shit. Like all the stuff we were doing with the pose and like the whatever. Like David Mummer did a lot of research into stuff that sadly our U.S. government probably still does, has done in the past. But probably still does. In terms
we're all going to disappear tomorrow.
Hey, they could have got me a long time ago that way.
As soon as the recording gets released.
Yes. Mysterious circumstances. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what I had. I really appreciate you guys doing this. I mean, I know we're not a setup kind of podcast thing or everything. We're just really big fans of everything you did in the movie.
We know. And listen, I know that you two will do a great job with. I mean, you have so many connections to horror people and everything else, and you guys are doing whatever else. I would love to be your first episode because I think you'll get a ton. I can tell you already. I think you'll have a ton of views on your first episode because you guys are like that good. I mean, as far as like the connections you have and everyone who loves you. So we were totally happy to do it.
But thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I do want to thank you all for coming out today to do this. And anywhere, I think I covered your Bandcamp page. Also check out Naomi's TikTok, which I did hear about recently and have subscribed to. Get on her TikTok because it's full of really fun content.
What happened?
It's the weirdest thing. I joined TikTok. Well, you know what it was? It was when Trump said that he was gonna like ban TikTok. I was like, I need to be on TikTok.
That's
like
what I did.
I want whatever he doesn't want, Anyway, so that's when I joined it. But I think I put like one video out in like December, and even then, I don't even know how to use it. And it went viral. Like overnight, I had like 16,000 followers. Then last week, I started doing a thing where I'm like, I'm going to post every day, like just see what happens. Mm-hmm. And literally last Monday, I had 16,000. Now I think I have like 95,000. Like in like 10 days, I'm up like 80,000 follow or whatever you are, TikTokers. I don't get it. I literally don't understand how to use it. I have to have like a Gen Zer come over and like do it for me. But yeah, bizarre. Like when I think about all the videos that I used to shoot and like edit and like slave over on YouTube, and now all I do is like burp into my phone and it goes like completely viral. It's like awesome.
Oh yeah, I actually have considered doing that too, especially the song that Ronen that you've heard recently. That's now mixed. I've been doing a YouTube thing for 3 years, and it's like, you get 100 views, 200 views, 300 views. Like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? Yeah, I've debated doing that too. Just starting to put clips of like songs like that on TikTok and see what happens. And
it hurts my heart. Don't get me wrong. Like it's by far the stupidest stuff I've ever done in my life, but it's where we're headed, I guess. Just idiocy.
Yeah.
Idiocracy sort of existence or whatever. One BR underscore film is our Twitter, and it's also I think our
Right.
Look up our fucking Facebook. I think it's the same thing, but
And make sure you follow them because you'll just end up disappearing in a week or two if you don't when the
That's true.
Twitter happens.
You know,
and then
I want to put this out there. If people would say that it's me that runs the social media, it's not actually. It's a lot of other people in addition. We are legion, as they say.
right, yeah.
I come in and I kind of like stir the pot sometimes, but like the whole stuff about people being like, if they ask us about the cult, we're literally down the street. Like that's kind of true. Just FYI.
Mhm.
I mean, this isn't so much a movie. Sometimes it's more of a documentary. Just so you know.
I think you tried to be funny, Alok, but it didn't land.
It's mostly just scary. It's mostly just
A lot of the Twitter threads on a 1BR thing get really dark really quick though, because someone will be like, "I love this movie so much. Great, come to the dinner party." And just watching the reactions is so much fun. Like what?
I mean, the dinner party is the thing, isn't it? Clayton, you want to hype anything there?
Just follow me on Instagram. Just the Clayton Hoff. Easy.
He'll be at the dinner party, by the way.
He will. Yeah.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Standing off to the corner, just kind of hovering, but.
Did you get the? Sorry, Ronen. Did you get to say your stuff?
They hyped me very nicely. He got my Bandcamp in there. Bandcamp's a good place, but you can, you can find me on any of your favorite whatever music platform on there.
Spotify.
Or you can just call my mom. She has so many nice things to say about him.
That's true.
Don't call your mom.
We'll put her number in the comments below.
I love you, Mom. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm not sorry at all.
I really
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, bye guys. Thank you.
See you and cheers.
Yes, thanks, Kate.
Yeah, thank you, Kate.
Yeah.
We appreciate your support of the film. You are such one of our super fans, and you are our internet bae. And
Her energy's amazing.
yeah, and we appreciate you. Thank you so much.